so Mag sums it up quite nicely. After you have a halving event, you basically have 500 days of upward movement. Okay, sometimes you go sideways for a little bit, but overall, you have 500 days of goodness. And that's when you usually then have 500 days of badness. Okay, so since our halving event, you could argue we've been having going down or sideways movement, and we still have a lot of days to go before the top. And it's anticipated the top will be somewhere around $200 something thousand, right? And then you could argue from that top, we'll have 500 days before we hit our next bottom. But here's the thing. Here's my new thesis. I don't think we will be going down 80% like all previous cycles before. The first cycle, we went down like 88%. Second cycle, we went down 85%. The last cycle, we went down about approximately 77%. So it's been getting lower. But this next cycle down, I don't believe will be anywhere close. I think we could go down maybe like 50%, 40%. Because I just don't see the institutions that are now holding so much of these ETF shares and the institutions that are just holding Bitcoin. I just don't see them all say, okay, we're in 2025, December 2025, let's just all sell it because Bitcoin is going to go down. I just don't see it. I don't see them doing that. They're going to be holding because they believe in Bitcoin. That's the reason why they bought Bitcoin in the first place. So, the cycle moving forward from here on out could be very different than before. I mean, I just think it's going to be different. I don't think we're going to see the same 80% drop from our top, wherever that may be, going forward. I'm theorizing. I could be wrong, and we still do an 80% drop from the top, but still, I just don't see it now that we have institutions holding large amounts of Bitcoin and huge percentages of the overall circuit supply. Yeah, I just don't see it. But anyways, what this is showing is we have a full year, almost more than a year. Yeah, more than a year before we get to that top. So don't be so bearish, guys. Bitcoin is only 10% away from all-time high. It's that simple. It's so good. It's so good indeed. In fact, it's so good that Bitcoin, if you were to rank it among all market caps of everything out there, it's top 10 right now. It's top 10. And that's below gold and silver and the top companies of the world, including Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, But as it climbs higher, it will be surpassing a lot of these. It may be sitting right under gold by the end of this cycle. If it does go up, let's say 4x from where it is now, or 3x, 4x, it could be sitting at number 2 or 3 by the end of the cycle, right under gold. And then the next cycles where it takes it above gold, and it could be the most valuable asset on the planet after the next cycle. According to Plan B, 200-week moving average, realized price RSI. You combine them all together. You look at where we are in this cycle. Barely moving. Barely moving. We're not in the orange yet. We're not in the red yet. We're not in that parabolic phase yet. Nowhere close. We haven't even started yet. That's mostly in 2025, right? In 2024 is when we start moving upwards. The last 3 months, we are going up. But yeah, we're nowhere close. And yet, we're only 10% away from all-time high. Again, we haven't even really begun going up, and yet we're only 10% away from all-time high. That's the thing. Doge surges 10% as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency gains traction. We know Elon is backing Trump hardcore, and he came up with this Department of Government Efficiency, which spells out Doge. Don't know if that's real or it's a joke, probably a joke, but it spells out Doge, but somehow, and I don't know if that really had anything to do with why Doge is pumping, but if you chart it like 2 cycles ago and 1 cycle ago, maybe it's going to moon like before. I don't know, but it got up to like 70 cents before in the last cycle, I remember. So maybe it could happen, maybe not. And then also Injective. I actually just DCA'd Injective last night. It actually is being listed on Upbit, and Upbit is from South Korea. Usually when things get listed on Upbit, it goes up in a big way. And I did not know that was going to happen. So good for Injective, though. Injective is one of the major L1s out of Cosmos. Also, a major telco company is joining them as a validator. And Paxos is bringing their yield-bearing stablecoin to their network. Good for Injective. I did see this. It really has nothing to do with anything, but it does show you a lot of people, were talking about or worried about Taiwan earlier this year about how China may go take it over, and people were wondering why. But this is the reason. Taiwan Semiconductor, the world's largest chip maker. Look at the companies they make chips for. NVIDIA, AMD, Samsung, Apple, Intel, right? Basically, they make chips for everyone. And they just had a staggering Q3 quarterly. But yeah, this shows how important they are. Just to show you guys, even though this has nothing to do with crypto.